Welcome to So Like, I Like, You Like.
So light.
Hi everyone, this is your host Kelyn and Noel.
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are at our third episode. Yay!
Wow, that's... want to say fast, but not very fast. Want to say slow, also not very slow. But wow, episode 3 already.
Such an achievement, right?
Yes. Hope you have been enjoying the episode 1, 2, and then today is number 3.
Yes, yes. So following on to what we mentioned in the last episode, this episode we're going to talk about boundaries. Right?
Boundaries, okay. We know things like healthy and unhealthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a definition to different types of boundaries? Or are there even different types of boundaries? So
Yeah,
far,
I
here
think-
the most common ones are like, is it a healthy or is it an unhealthy boundary?
Yeah, I think when it comes to boundaries, there's a lot of different definition and different contexts where the boundaries, this word is like defined. Because like if it's a physical boundary, for example, like for example, if I'm a guy, I don't go so close to a girl, it might, step into their so-called personal space, that
yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
boundary. And then when we talk about boundaries in our current context, it might be more about boundaries between relationship with each other.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
relationship with each other, yes.
Like certain words or certain things we don't share because of that certain boundaries we have with one another. Yeah, for different
Like
people.
like a line of respect lah. Like this invisible line of respect that you don't cross that boundary.
Yeah, correct. So
Okay.
I mean, to quote this very famous guy, his name is Prentice Hampdale.
Okay.
He did mention that boundaries are the distance at which I can love you
Okay.
and love me simultaneously.
Oh, okay. So that when I can have this respect, this boundary that we set, I won't cross over, you don't cross over, we can still enjoy each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in a sense, it's not an either or kind of situation. We don't want to be like, oh, okay, lor, just because you don't step over my boundaries, then I don't reciprocate. Or it's usually it's more of a how can we still set boundaries but still stay connected with the person.
Correct.
Yeah, and in some circumstances where you don't set the boundaries, right, the relationship can be hurt.
Correct. Then it becomes a grey zone. Then after that, you don't know whether you cross the line. Then the person is thinking, yeah, you definitely crossed the line. But then you on one hand will be thinking, did I? I don't think
But
so.
the victim didn't sound out, so I don't feel that
Correct.
I've crossed the line,
Correct.
right?
Because
Yeah.
sometimes, we all have different levels and stages of boundaries, and different people for different levels of comfort that we have, that we set this invisible line,
Yeah.
that how close or how far we want to have this relationship with this person.
Yeah, and sometimes there is a unconscious kind of boundaries that we set in certain relationship. Like, oh, I'm so close to Noel, I can talk about anything under the sun. And then I didn't realize that I might have stepped over certain boundaries, like maybe pry too much into her private life, or
Correct.
joke too much about her family, etc. I mean, there are certain things that we just don't outrightly say to each other, like,
and sometimes it's not meant to be on purpose. Like we just say it at that moment, at the spur of moment.
yeah.
Yes.
It could come out as a joke, but to the person
Yeah,
it's like,
correct.
oh, hello.
Yeah, I feel offended.
Yeah, where are you getting at?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I guess setting boundaries between friends are very important, and not just to friends, family, and sometimes friends and family can be quite toxic. So that's where sometimes you will just like for me, right, I tend to just keep it in, like, oh, you said that, then okay, actually I don't really feel comfortable about it, but it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's also some sort of maturity when it comes to setting boundaries. I mean, my very personal experience is with my mom, which is sometimes she can come off as a bit harsh on her words. So there's certain things like she will joke around, like she'll say like, you are like this lah, you're always clumsy, so you always fall over or you always drop things, that kind of thing. Like to me, as a joke, as a way to make people connect with me better, like it's quite okay. But there's a limit to it, right? So
Correct.
the limit is when she start correlating my clumsiness to certain things. For example, like, because she's clumsy lah, that's why this thing happened. You see lah, that kind of thing. Then she start getting very pessimistic and she start going into labeling mode. Then there's where my boundary is stepped over. And of course, I still respect you as my mom, but I need to tell you that I don't feel comfortable you labeling me that way.
Yeah, and also blaming. Does she go into the blaming?
Yeah,
like,
so it's
because you're clumsy, so this thing must be broken because you are clumsy, lor.
Yeah, I become the prime suspect out of nowhere. And there are other people in the room. Why is it just me? Why is it always me? Kind of thing. Yeah, so setting that healthy boundary, like you mentioned earlier on, is about telling the person not in a very confronting way, but more of like, I hope that you respect me, as much as I respect you.
Yeah.
We need to come up with certain boundaries, and I think this is not okay with me.
Yeah. Actually, this reminds me of a story that I have. So I used to work in this company. I was this entry-level executive. So I have this colleague who is a senior executive. And we have a good and friendly working relationship because we have to work very closely with each other on different projects. Yes. So I think he started to overstep. Yeah. So what he did was, I can remember 2 incidents. One is that he just called me out of nowhere, like at night 9+. Then because we work quite closely, so I was thinking it was an emergency. Even though I was in the toilet, I heard my phone ring. So I jumped out and then I went to get my phone, just to hear him saying, "Hey Noel, I just finished gambling at the casino at MBS. Can you help me call a taxi?"
What?
I know, right?
Hey, what?
I know, right? Yeah, I was
Like,
so
why you suddenly become his
angry.
PA?
Correct. I was so angry at that moment. I said, "Huh? I thought that you call me because of work. Because I didn't know whether he left the company or not. So because he tends to work overtime, so I just naturally thought that he probably needed to clarify something when he was working. And sometimes he will work from home as well. So when he actually called me at 9+, I thought that, okay, must be emergency, because he never ever calls me at night. It's normally during working hours. Yeah. So it's very common, right? You will sure answer. Then just to hear him say, "Hey, can you help me book a taxi?" Then when
Then what did
I
you
said
do?
that, I didn't lah. I said, I'm in the toilet. Can you go and call your own taxi? Then his excuse was, "Oh, there are so many people waiting for taxi and I can't really get through the hotline as well.
Hello?
Maybe you help me try." Yeah, then he's very persuasive and persistent. That is his character, but that's where I told him that, no, it's okay. You settle your own thing, okay? I'm not gonna help you call for a taxi. Okay, bye. Okay, then the second incident. So one day he was telling me, same guy, he was telling me that the Seiko watch of his is faulty. So he was telling me that he's thinking of sending it for repair. So then I just shared with him, because I went to the service center before. I shared with him the location. I even told him that it's a Monday to Friday thing, office hours only. And you know what he did?
Yeah, I can already predict what he's going to do, right?
Yes.
Why such people exist? Like, so he asked you to send the watch for him to the service center?
Yes, as what you expected.
Oh my God, if you can see my eyes, I don't know roll until how high already.
He just say, "Noah, my Seiko watch 40. So okay. To me is, maybe you want to know where's the service center or what. So therefore I gave him the information. The next thing you know is, "Are you free? Can you help me to send the watch to the service center or not?"
Hello, am I your PA?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And he's just a senior colleague of mine. Yeah. I'm not employed to be his PA. Yeah, so I
you're
actually
not
felt that,
obliged to also.
correct. I felt that by us having a relatively close working relationship make him feel that, oh, actually, Noel can help me to do things like a PA. Or because we are so close enough, right? You can help me to run errands, help me call taxi, help me send my watch for servicing, right?
If I have a counter for how many times I roll my eye while she's trying to explain it, I think it'll be like 100. Oh my god. I mean, the calling you at 9 p.m., that's already something that it's...
Yeah, and if it's for work, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right. It
I
could
mean,
be
like,
just
if you're
because you're
like...
stuck in MBS, you cannot find a taxi, the concierge is
It's a
not
very
helping you.
personal thing. Yeah.
Exactly. You can't get home by your own means, find a way, right?
Yeah. What happens to being independent and
Yeah,
stuff?
so that's where I mean, just now when Kelyn was sharing about the boundaries, I just immediately thought of this ex-colleague of mine because these two instances were really over the boundaries.
Yeah, I think like that's like the common way that the boundaries is so called taken advantage of. Like we don't want people to take advantage of us. At the same time, we don't want to take advantage of others. So that when certain things like these kind of incident come up or, some sort of communication come up, like how can we communicate with the other party then? Hey, that's not cool, man.
Oh, I don't feel right about it.
Yeah, I don't think that we are that close to do that. And I also
correct.
don't think that I'm your employee
Correct.
or your secretary
Yeah, exactly.
or your punching bag. Some people just come to you to not in a physical way, but maybe like, some sort of like vent their anger at you. Yeah, sometimes there are those people that I met in my life, especially as a type 2 person, right? We might come off as a very kind, open, compassionate kind of person. And people do take advantage of my kindness a lot. Yeah, as same for you also, like, because we are talking about Enneagram types. So there's 9 different types in the Enneagram chart. So for me and Noel, both of us, we share a commonality is that we have the type 2 personality in us.
Yes.
So my core is a type 2, so I always face the boundaries issues with people. So either they take my kindness for granted, like what your colleague did to you.
Yeah, he probably felt that like Noah is always so helpful. He's always so kind-hearted, always so nice. It's okay. Why don't you just like on the way, just help me call a taxi. But it's not it's not on the way.
It's not on the way at all. You're in the toilet. You're not even with him. That's the
correct.
thing. I mean,
and
like,
he was already 9+ after work already. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
So these are the boundaries that we want to set with people who are close to us. Actually, it's more important when it's someone very close. Yeah.
Correct,
so one example
I mean, in general, of course, you have to set, like for me, it's just a working colleague. We are not close on a personal level.
Yes.
But so yeah, in general, I think it's better to have
like some sort of like, who am I, your girlfriend? That kind of thing. Like hello. Like, I don't remember us being so close.
even between couples also need to have boundaries.
Yeah. Especially those we are very close with, because
correct.
sometimes we might think that the person is okay with it, but actually the person is not. Then when I recall so many incidents when I'm in a quarrel with my husband, like when we talk about certain things, then I will start to think, is it I'm too nice so that y'all think that Kelly will always do this one, like Kelly will always help me on. So it becomes some sort of like, oh, because Kelly is always so helpful, so she will make sure that everything is done properly, and she's always a planner, so she will make sure everything is done properly.
Yeah, like
then
an assumption.
some sort of assumption. Then at the end of the day, when the whole event didn't turn out as it was expected, it's somehow my fault, because it's always Kelly who does everything. So like, I feel like my boundaries was not respected. And then when every blame comes to me, I also feel that, why am I the victim? Like, why am I the one to take the blame?
And it's not fair. Yeah,
it's not fair. So like, it's more like that respect, and it's also at the same time because you love that person, you want to make sure that you respect their boundaries as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Correct,
the
correct.
more you love the person, the more you need to know, oh, what are the boundaries around this topic, for example.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, there's also different type of emotional boundaries.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think the common emotional boundaries would be like people that we tend to feel they share too much. Maybe more on the TMI side, like, oh,
Share
hello.
too much.
Share a bit too much with me, or like sometimes because I'm so empathetic with how
Okay.
people feel, sometimes
Uh-huh.
they might feel that, oh, since you are so compassionate and you are really like a really very good listening ear, I shall just tell you all the things that is bogging me, but actually they don't realize that I don't feel comfortable with the topic.
Yes, like you become like a ranting dumb. Like you just
Yeah.
Kelyn, okay. A B C D F G all the way to Z.
So I become like an emotional garbage dump.
Yeah, like a
Then
dump
you
site.
just gum everything on me, and
Yes.
then like certain topic I really don't feel comfortable talking.
Correct. And
Yeah, but
also with different people you feel comfortable to talk about certain things. Yeah.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. I do recall there's a friend. He started talking about like because he's a guy, so like their topics usually tends to be a little bit different from ladies, where we talk more about emotional, we talk more about whatever we do in our day to day life. Then he started talking more about some sexual topic, and then I actually don't feel comfortable, but
Oh,
at the same
okay.
time I need to listen to
But
him
you were
because
just being polite lah, right?
yeah,
Just being polite and
yeah.
then just don't want to interrupt him, just let him finish.
Then
But
it
actually
become
you yeah, correct, it becomes crossing the boundaries.
it becomes like, oh, you're okay with this means you're okay with the rest. Then they start talking about it. And then it's a group of guys, so they start having like similarities, like, oh, I also like that, I also like that. Then,
Oh my.
then I suddenly feel very out of place, like, hello.
No, it's very awkward. Like, can you all notice that there's a female here?
Yeah, then it'll be very oblivious that I start banging table like, hello. So I just let them talk. And then just
Yeah.
just face myself out of the
I
conversation.
mean, sometimes you also don't want to be rude, especially when the person is very invested in it.
Mm.
Like they get so hyped out and so excited about their topic. Yeah. So at which point should you then interject and like chop can we change topic, because it's a bit out of
Yeah,
out
I
of
think
boundaries in my perspective, right?
yeah, I think certain times when I feel that way and I feel that I don't really want to continue the conversation, I will just maybe give them like, oh, I need to go to a restroom, or I need a break, or like, oh, hold
And go to
on.
the restroom and then don't return already.
It could be. But
Just
I'm
stand
not
by, take
that
your handbag
bad.
and take
I'm
your
not
phone.
that bad. I'm not that bad. I mean, it's quite obvious when you're really going to leave the place, right?
But sometimes it helps, like going just saying that, oh, I need to go to the restroom. And
And
then when
then
you
don't
come back,
return.
right? Yeah, sometimes or rather most of the time, the person won't continue. They will be distracted already.
Yeah,
Like
or
they
they
forgot what they were
will,
talking about halfway.
or like hopefully they realize that they're talking about uncharted territory that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
But I mean that there's certain ways that we can actually communicate these sort of boundaries with our close friends, especially when it comes to one. Yeah, we
Correct.
could we could like wait for the person to finish, like for example my mom, that incident, right? Wait for her to complete her sentence. The most important thing when you are setting boundaries, you don't want to incur any sort of humiliation or shame.
Yes. Correct.
Mm. So you might want to bring this person into a more private setting instead of still in front of the whole group. Tell this he or she that, hey, I don't feel comfortable when you were saying this about me earlier on.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
hope you respect that. I don't feel good. I mean, if you love me for who I am, I hope you stop doing this. Hmm.
Yeah, I think setting this will help you to communicate better and also can avoid getting hurt in future. Because by not setting it right, it's subconsciously telling the person that
You're
actually it's okay
with
to
it.
do that. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you're
Khalid's
okay
okay
with
with
it.
it. Yeah, Khalid very easy one. Anything goes, I can talk about her family and stuff. It doesn't matter to her. But it matters. So you need
Yes.
to tell this person. But the fear that I have when I'm trying to tell this person upright in front, right, is that the defense mechanism might come up.
Okay.
And then
Meaning?
it will. So, for example, if I just told my mom outright in front of the whole group, right, her defense mechanism might come up like, "You okay with this and that? What's wrong with this now?" The kind of thing.
Or sometimes will be like, I was only joking. Why you so serious?
Yeah, like as a friend,
Right.
it will come out into that sense like, "You always okay one. What's wrong with you today? Why
Yeah.
you mood swing that kind of thing."
Then
Then
all
you
the added on
Yeah.
unnecessary
And then the rest of
words.
the group, yeah, lor, why you like that, Kelyn, today? What's wrong with you?
Correct.
Yeah. So there is that part that it will actually break the connection instead of fostering the connection with that person.
Yeah. Actually, that's true.
Mm.
Okay, so for me, right, I actually have something to share.
Mm.
So I have this very close friend.
Mm.
So what happened was she actually has a lot of emotional baggage.
Mm.
So as her good friend, of course, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna
Mm.
lend a listening ear,
Mm.
lend a shoulder to cry on.
Mm.
But actually, after a long period of time, I honestly felt very burdened emotionally. Yeah, like
Okay.
I mean, the experiences that she was going through, the emotions that she was going through, everything, it was just repeating and repeating over the years. Then
Okay.
despite whatever that I have comforted her with, whatever
Mm.
advice that I gave, all just fell to deaf ears. And it's not that I expect her to follow my solution or heal my advice. It's not that, it's not what I wanted, but I just felt very burdened. Like I kept on listening to this every time, day to day, months to months, years to years. It's always the same old story. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
different situation, different. Yeah, so I actually had to take a step back, or rather maybe 10 steps, not a step back. Yeah, I actually withdraw myself from
Okay.
this friend. Yeah, because I just felt very, very heavy hearted.
Mm.
And for me, it's maybe because I feel like, why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah.
Right? Then I start to feel emotional about it. Like you are okay, you are doing fine, but why do you want to do this to yourself? Right? And then you keep on coming to me to cry, to share your sadness and what I'm willing to hear, but why do you keep repeating the same old, yeah, so I just
Scenario kind of
correct.
thing. Like they
And then
continue
so I've
the drama in their life and they repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat.
correct. So I actually felt that she was crossing the boundary that I had in terms of how much I could handle.
Okay, I get it.
Right. Yeah. So that's why eventually I just have to pull myself out from that. And then I think, yeah, we didn't speak for quite a few years after that. Then, but eventually we did meet up, we did bump into each other, then we sort of rekindled the relationship.
Yeah, I think like sometimes the bucket is really full. Like then you just have to make it a point to say that, okay, I think this is the most I can help you with. I think I really need to take a break. And sometimes having certain relationship breaks and stuff is also setting boundaries. Like I need time for myself now to
Correct.
to recover from this. Not say that you have some sickness or anything, but just to recalibrate my
Correct.
emotional states, and also at the same time we want to make sure that we are 100% there for them. We don't want to be half-hearted with the connection we have with the person. So we want to make sure that we are fully there for them. So at the same time, we have the limit where it's
Yeah,
like
correct.
what you mentioned, like you really need to take the 10 step back and take a break from a relationship to recalibrate everything. Right?
Yeah, for me, I did feel better. Like I took a break, and I, like just now I was saying that we sort of rekindled our friendship, right? I think she did realize it herself. Although we didn't speak about it until this very day. Yeah. I somehow think she herself felt it like, oh, okay. Maybe it was too heavy. It was too much of a burden for my dear friend. I could feel it. I can feel it because I can see some changes in her. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I mean, sometimes, even though, yes, I mean, in my experience, I didn't actually come forth to speak to her about my boundaries. Instead, I withdraw myself from it. But I mean, in my case, I was fortunate enough that she herself also realized, and therefore we could restart the engine of our friendship and the closeness. Yeah, because we are very close.
Like in a sense, like after a while, maybe y'all find the right time, you could also bring up this topic, like what happened previously. Why did you start to take 10 steps back, like you mentioned, right? And also you just want to communicate in a very neutral way that actually you are trying to set a boundary. Yeah, it's not that you don't care for her, you really do, but because you care for her so much, you don't want to hurt her,
Okay.
and therefore
Yeah.
you took a step back to somehow recalibrate yourself so that you are in a better state to support her further. But at the same time, you need to let her know that there is a certain limit where the emotional baggage could rub off on you. Yeah, and that leads me to what I just recently found out about compassion fatigue. So compassion fatigue is about how the caregiver of the person. So in this sense, you are the caregiver, right? You're giving the emotional support to the person. And the caregiver start to feel that the emotion baggage or the emotion reaction towards what the actual victim is feeling.
Okay.
So instead of empathizing with the victim, they became the victim and feel all the emotions that the victim is feeling and is trying to react to the situation that the victim is feeling. But at the same time, they cannot do anything because they are not a victim. So they cannot,
Exactly.
like, where you gave her the advice to do A, B, C, but she's not doing it. And at the same time, you feel all the emotions that
Yeah,
she's
but
feeling.
it's not that I'm insisting that she's following the
Yes.
advice, correct?
Yeah.
But it's more towards like how to better herself, how to
Mm.
improve the situation that she's facing.
Yeah, and then all the
Correct.
emotion built
Yeah,
up.
rather than just dwell in it, in
Mm.
negativity. Yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree.
I was hoping more towards like she will step out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to follow my advice. Maybe my
Mm.
advice is not applicable in your case, but
Yeah.
more like, can you come to the bright side and not stay in the dark side?
Yeah, right. I know sometimes you just want to pull them by the ear and like come over now, like
Yes.
wake up. But of
Correct.
course we definitely cannot control what others do in their life.
Definitely.
So we
Correct.
can only do what we can do, which is to set the boundary that okay, this is my limit. Like, you've been round and round in circles for how long?
Yes.
This is my limit. If the next time we want to talk about certain topic, I'm more than willing to listen to you. But if it's talking about the same topic where you're going in circles, give me a break. Like, or maybe time out for me. Like, maybe I'll give you some sort of cue to say that, let's not talk about this, that kind of thing. Because we tend to empathize so much with the person, right? We might indirectly put ourselves in their shoes.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
sometimes in order to understand the situation, you tend to put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, so then that causes the fatigue, which you feel that, wow, this is too much. This is really too much. Like you are a cup filled to the brim and then someone, she's still continuing
Yeah,
pouring
still
the
add,
water.
add more ingredients.
Yeah,
I
add
mean,
more
add more ingredients
ingredients.
to my mala 香锅 can. That one I don't mind.
Without adding cost. Yeah. Without adding cost, free of charge. Just add, never mind, just add.
Yeah, but for other things, maybe chop chop. Hold on, hold on.
Yeah, I guess like to me there's a level of spiciness I can handle. And that's why I need to tell you first. Hey, chop, level 3 only, level 3 only. Don't go over level 3 and continue actually. Oh,
Yeah, so that's why it become. Yeah, so I guess I become very tired
yeah.
after listening for a very long period of time.
Which
So
is very understandable.
I have to withdraw myself. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very understandable because we are not in a sense built to be just a vessel to contain everybody's emotional needs, right? So at the same time, we want to respect the relationship, but at the same time, we need to make sure that the other person know that, oh, my limit is level 3 spiciness only. That's it.
Yes.
Like for the well, maybe level 5, kind of thing. So I mean, we
Yeah.
take it and we let the other person know, if not the next part that we are eating, we are suffering.
Correct. So I think this is also got to do with self-awareness. So I mean, in my case, I was sharing that eventually, after a period of time, we rekindled the friendship, right? So it takes both sides to have the self-awareness. So I mean, in my case, I was fortunate, as I was saying, that we rekindled and in a better state. But then for some people, maybe you didn't patch back, you didn't rekindle anything. But it's also okay, all right? I mean, we all
Yeah.
have to also respect ourselves in order for others to respect us. It's okay to set the boundaries. It's okay to
Yeah.
tell yourself that that's the limit and that's all I want to be involved in. Yeah, so
Yeah, speaking of which, it's not always that when you set boundaries or the other party will accept.
oh yes.
Right. Like sometimes it might end up not the way you expected it to. It might be a disconnection instead of a better connection.
Yep.
Yeah. Like that person just DC out of the relationship. But it does happen. And I mean, like sometimes when we always talk about like having a relationship with yourself also very important. Right.
Correct.
So to give yourself the forgiveness if the person don't accept your boundary doesn't mean that you are a lesser off person or doesn't mean that you are the bad person in the relationship.
Yeah, correct.
You are actually loving yourself. Therefore, you're doing this. You're not trying to hurt anybody. But if
Because
the
you might
person,
end up hurting yourself, right?
yeah,
You let
I
people
really feel
to
that
overstep
way.
the boundary towards
Yeah,
you, right?
correct. Then you are just constantly giving yourself excuse to let people hurt you. Yeah, but setting the boundaries is actually to protect and love yourself
Correct.
even more.
Yeah. Especially in this, I think in this society, a lot of people tend to want things fast, very reliant on each other, all this, right?
Yeah.
Then they tend to, hey, can you help me do this? Hey, help me settle that. So it becomes very easy, and then just assume that the person, since the person is, let's just say, very good in this, so you're like, hey, help me settle this.
Yeah, so
Then okay, then
readily
just assume
available.
correct. So
Like
you
ever
never even
ready
ask whether
battery.
I'm okay. Yeah. I
I'm ever
prefer
ready.
triple. I use the triple A battery more often, but okay, never. But no, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, get
So
what
it's
I
like
mean.
sometimes I feel that people tend to just assume that you are fine with it, right? And then you never even ask me, and then you just assume that, oh, I will help you to go and collect this item since I'm going there. You never even ask me whether
I want to.
I make time to go and collect your parcel. I make time to go and settle your errands, to run your errands. Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes it can come off as like, hey, Noel, you're on the way, right? You help me take lor. You know?
Mm.
And then the person haven't even replied, or Noel haven't even replied me that, or I just walked off.
Yes.
And
And
then
then
you
just
are,
assume end of the day your parcel is collected.
yes.
Mm.
So, that kind of thing. And we're just trying to protect ourselves and to love ourselves better in a sense. And people don't accept it, then, I mean,
Then it's okay. Honestly, it's
yeah,
okay.
that is okay. I mean,
Correct.
then you know that these people are not meant to be in your life.
Mm.
And it's
Yeah.
better sooner than later to find out. Like, when you need them the most, they are not there.
Correct.
Yeah. So sometimes when we set boundaries and we start loving ourselves and seeing a clearer picture of how we want to be perceived by others, we tend to see the people around more clearly.
Mm.
Yeah. We tend to see their true colors.
The true colors, yes. And also the ugly side of things that also all the while you have been assuming that I'm okay with it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Or while you think I'm doing this because I like to do it.
correct.
Yeah.
So it becomes a very distorted line.
A very distorted image of how this person have of you, and then actually there isn't. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, let the DC happens. I think those people who is within our age range will understand this reference. The DC, oh, I need to reconnect to
I know, right? It used to be so noisy.
Yeah. And then
And
you
you
can
just
fix
sit
the phone.
there and wait for it. Okay, after it's connected, then okay, finally, like maybe another
Yeah, you
5,
could
10
actually
minutes.
go and make a cup of coffee and come back.
Exactly, which was what I did at my grandma's house.
You make a cup of coffee, you come back, you still have to wait for a few seconds, so you sip your coffee while waiting for the connection. This is how we get nerdy about technology and stuff.
So anyway, so for people who experience this, like if you're having difficulties in terms of establishing the boundaries that you have with your friends, with your family, with your colleagues, it's okay. I mean, it's okay to just speak up to let them know. Obviously, you don't go into like the angry mode and correct, and
Confrontational.
slam the door and say, "Hey, why are you treating me this way?" Of course, it's not that bad. We are everything to be amicable, to talk things out, to let them
Yeah.
know that, hey, actually, I'm not comfortable with it, right? So you are not alone. Actually, a lot of people also have crossed the boundaries. Actually, right, not just toxicity. Actually, people who are close, like on very, very friendly, chill out terms, right, can also cross because you won't fully know what a person is thinking.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
You how I can let's just say I know Kelyn for 20 over years. I don't know her every single thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe certain things when I say or I do may cross the
May
border.
trigger,
Yeah.
certain things. Yeah, we will
Right.
never know until we trigger it. So,
Correct.
I mean, sometimes we may know the person for so long, but we never know that, hey, actually, I didn't know this part about you. And then it's nice to know. And then it's whether these two parties really cherish the relationship enough to really sit down and get right about, oh, actually I'm not okay with this, are you okay with this, and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So like, especially in romantic relationship, you never know until you go and
Yes.
press the person's button, so called, not in a bad way, but accidentally or habitually. Yeah.
Correct. I think sometimes because we feel worried that the relationship might turn sour or worse, like what if the relationship ends just because you establish your boundary to that person, and then
Yeah.
the party will be thinking, is it overstepping? What's wrong with that? Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll think that what if this will happen? Then when
Or
actually
like,
you just want to speak up to like protect yourself, then end up the person get offended. I said, am I overstepping your boundary? I did.
Oh
And then get angry,
yeah. Or
right?
like,
Then for you, I actually just wanted to tell you how I feel.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you've been okay for the whole time and then now that you tell me, or like,
Mm.
sometimes we might also not want to set boundaries because we feel that the relationship might turn sour because of that. But if you don't set your boundary, then you keep, adding on to the frustration and the hurt that you
Mm.
get from this person because they are saying certain things or they are doing certain things.
Correct,
That
correct.
really make you feel very, uncared for, at certain areas.
Mm.
Yeah. And that leads me to thinking that sometimes we might not even realize that we have unhealthy boundaries
Mm.
with people around us,
Like you don't realize it, you mean?
Yeah, like we don't realize that we have like unhealthy boundaries with
Oh,
some people.
like how eh?
I think the closest to heart for me was like when I was in teenage years. I do
Mm.
have a group of friends that we frequently hang out and we do go out, and I don't know why I tend to avoid going for the gatherings with these sort of people. I really
Despite
don't
going
know.
on a regular basis, but you
Yeah.
always feel something's off. You always feel,
Yeah, I always feel very sad after the
oh,
gathering, or I always feel very insecure or
oh dear.
unworthy after the whole gathering. I really
Then you still
feel.
continue go out with them so many times.
I mean, like, there is this good friend in the group that I'm very close with, so I tend to just
Oh, I
go
see, I
along with the
see.
flow.
I
Like,
see, I
I
see.
really want to meet this good friend, and this good friend just love group gathering,
It's
right?
like plus one become plus one plus four.
Yeah, right? So,
Okay, okay.
but I didn't realize that, some of them could be stepping over some of my boundaries that made me feel a bit
Oh,
uncomfortable. But I mean,
okay,
I
okay.
was young and I didn't really know how to put things to words. And then usually
Mm.
you don't want to be the outcast to suddenly talk about certain things like,
Yes, especially
yeah,
during your teenage years, you being in a social group is very important, right?
to
That's
fit
like your
in, to
core, correct?
belong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's part of puberty. So
Yeah.
what happened? Maybe you want to share more?
I think it comes down to certain words that they use. And it
Oh,
just made me feel that they downplay me a lot.
oh dear.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, you won't understand this one. Like, this is something that we talked about last time when you were not here. Or like,
Mm,
people like you won't understand this.
why
Like,
so
just,
outcast you?
yeah, some sort of like brush you off or like make
Ayo.
you feel less off.
Mm,
That's why I always feel very insecure after that. And then when I talk to my good friend who is in that group,
mm.
she'll be like, you're overthinking lah, you're being over dramatic lah. Like,
Ah.
why do you want all the attention on you lah? Kind of thing.
But that's not asking for attention. That's being fair in a social
Yeah, so you
circle.
see, like everyone around you thinks that it's normal to be
Ah.
treating you that way. Then you at the same time you also don't you start to think that am I the weirdo here? Like
Maybe it's normal for that clique lah.
yeah, it could be, So I mean, there are certain ways in like our day-to-day life. We might not realize this if
Mm.
we are not exposed to a more healthy boundary kind of system
Yeah.
or group of friends, for
Mm.
example.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, until now, like when I became more mature as I age and I see different groups of friends treating each other with that sort of respect, then I realized,
Mm.
oh, actually they were not really very nice to me, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, if you were to outcast, then okay. But then, how come your that closer friend actually sort of agrees with them? Then that's quite
Yeah.
a red flag already.
Yeah, it kind of like
Correct.
also explains why I'm not that close with her now.
Yeah, I mean over time you definitely will start to retreat and because ultimately you also don't want to continue to let them hurt you, right?
Yeah, I think
And it was a part of a phase that you feel awkward to speak up. So I
mm,
guess the other option is to withdraw yourself from them.
Yeah. And then now that as an adult, I do see it more clearly is that, okay, these people, they are not supportive in that sense, and they usually don't leave me with a better feeling after gathering with them. Then, I will try to reduce lah my
Yeah,
exposure with them and try to put myself in more, supportive relationship as compared to them.
correct.
Yeah, that kind of
I
thing.
think some okay lah. On the flip side, maybe they don't feel that it is overstepping your
Yeah,
boundaries
yeah,
because it could be a
definitely.
joke. It could be
Yeah.
something sort of like comedy, like to downplay each
Mm,
other. I mean, okay, I myself sometimes I will also joke with certain friends or what, like,
yeah.
you're not strong in this, so therefore you won't know this, you won't
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
But I guess that's why it comes back to the comfort level.
Mm,
Yeah. So they probably just sort of felt that it was right to do that to you, and then once one person start, the rest will continue.
yeah,
So
it's a
it
group
becomes like a
thing.
group thing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a group
yeah.
thing. Yeah, it does happen. And then you just go around the room like,
Yeah, it's like, okay, take turns to shoot me. Bum, 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 bum.
yeah, and then you become the joke of the day, joke of the year, then
Oh,
you become joke of the life.
that is so embarrassing
Yeah, I guess,
and very
yeah. So if
painful.
let's say you were to, I were to step out during that time to say that, hey, I'm very uncomfortable with this, that may be the end of the whole relationship. Everybody
But
is like,
actually, it's okay also. That group of friends. I mean,
yeah,
okay,
I mean, it's
provided
okay.
provided they continue that. You see, if they were
Mm,
to, oh actually, Kelyn felt that way. Oh, maybe we need to do some reflection.
maybe we
Then
need to be a bit
okay.
more sensitive, the kind of
Yeah,
thing.
correct.
But yeah, if let's say they don't find it a problem, like what you mentioned, like what's wrong with that? Like I don't feel that we are overstepping anything.
Correct.
We don't think we are going overboard about anything. And then
Yeah.
okay, then that is your cue to leave them. Like
That
really.
toxicity.
Yeah, just leave the group. Yeah, like yeah, just love yourself more than you love them, please, because
Yes, correct.
you're gonna be the person that you're gonna be with throughout your whole life.
Correct.
Not with them.
Correct. And
Yeah.
just be feeling so hurt and so drained after each gathering.
Mm.
Yeah, what's the point, right? Gathering is supposed to be
Yeah.
joyous, supposed to be
Yeah, it's
happy,
supposed to leave you
and
out.
correct, engage in things that you are common with, share the same
Yeah.
interests, right? Yeah. I mean, okay
Yeah.
lah. For them, maybe they share the same interest in talking about Kelyn.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, now that I'm not there, I don't know who they who's their next
Next
next.
target.
I don't want to say the word lah, but
But yeah, I guess.
yeah, like I always remember this quote that my husband always remind me.
What is
Life
it?
is like a bus.
Bus. Okay.
Yeah, so like you are the bus driver of your life,
Ah, yes.
right? And then people come and board your bus and they leave your bus at
People
different
come and go.
stops. Yeah, so people come and go. They will alight at different stops in your life. And then while they alight, there are people who will come up. So
Yes.
don't need to worry that there won't be new people in your life or new relationship or new friendship, that kind of thing. There's always the new people who will board your bus eventually.
Yes. Because if you don't love yourself, how else do you expect others to love you, right? I
Yeah.
mean, setting boundaries is part of being able to love yourself and to respect yourself.
Yeah. To be there for yourself no matter what happens in your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because the bus need to go on. So the driver need to continue driving.
Yes.
Right?
Correct. Then for those people, what if they don't let the other party know that the boundaries are overstepped? What if they just remain silent about it and just
Continue
continue
to
to
hold.
correct, continue to hold?
And I think then it will be like pent up frustration in you. Or like, you just keep accumulating the hurt and then eventually there will be some sort of explosion of
Ah,
emotions, be it at the person or be it at people who you really care for. And then, you don't really want to hurt others because of you trying to hold or give in to a situation.
yeah.
Right. So I mean, sometimes if you are aware, then we can do something about it.
Yep.
Then it's best to go and, make some, set some
Adjustments.
boundary, make some adjustment. If let's say it's not in your right frame to talk about the boundaries, maybe it's a boss kind of situation, then maybe you just want to reduce the amount of conversation with the person so as to avoid certain topics that make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, maybe in that situation whereby you can't avoid the person. Yeah,
Mm.
so
But if you can, you just try to reduce yourself from meeting with this person. Like me, like now I totally don't meet that group of friends. Like, thank
yeah,
God. For the sake of my sanity, I need to make sure that that
correct.
happens.
Like lessen the meetups or totally, if you can, cut them off. It's
Yeah,
totally fine. It's totally
yeah.
alright
Yeah, it's
because
totally
for
fine.
your own sake. For your
Yeah,
own sake. Correct.
yeah. So like, as we talk about all this, you also want, our listeners to know that you're not alone. Sometimes we have certain boundaries that we have in us that we really want to set it with the people we are, in relationship with. But it's really
Correct.
very difficult to bring up the topic. Or sometimes you
Yes.
just find that, hey, what if I say and then the relationship ends? Kind of thing.
Don't worry. I feel that if after saying out then the relationship end, then you
It's
know that
just
it's not
not
meant to
meant
be.
to be. Like
Yeah.
both of us always agree on this is that everything happens for a reason.
Yes,
So
definitely.
if it happens for a reason that you need to set the boundary, and then you just need to end the relationship because of it, then, let the event happen and then learn from what you can learn. And I think that's a very nice point to end our third episode.
Yes. I hope y'all enjoy it, and
Mm.
also I'm sure this is something that a lot of people encounter, especially
Mm.
in your social life, right? Your
Yeah.
workplace. Yes. So if y'all have any comments or you want to share your experiences with us,
Mm-hmm.
feel free to drop us a DM
Mm.
at our Instagram account.
Yep, which is at So Like Podcast. Yeah, I'd be happy to hear your, feedback or whatever that resonates with you. Sometimes you might like, yeah, me too. Raise your hand, just give
Correct,
us a
correct.
light up.
And we totally love that because it is,
Yeah.
if not, it's just the two of us talking.
Yeah, and like let's say if you have any things you want us to talk about in the future episodes, also do just sound it out to us, and we'd be happy to converse about it in our future episode.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you for
yeah,
listening.
yeah. Thank you for listening. And see you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.